She shines like a brilliant jewel, gloriously set where the golden hills of California meet the aquamarine waters of the Pacific Ocean, a majestic mixture of light and beauty reaching to the skies. Join us as we explore San Francisco and discover the charms of her history, the world-famous sights, and the adventures which make this Pacific port one of the most fascinating cities in the world. Experience cultures from around the globe as they meet in this unique city and create a cosmopolitan panorama of sights and sounds. Centrally located on California's 800-mile Pacific coastline, San Francisco is a peninsula at the gateway to the state's largest inland waterway. Its proximity to the ocean and bay often leaves the city covered by a cooling blanket of fog. Approaching San Francisco by sea, modern-day mariners pass under a structure that has become the symbol of the city, the Golden Gate Bridge. This is the bridge many said couldn't be built. The waters here plunge to over 300 feet, and the winds can reach gale force velocity. The critics maintain that even if such a bridge could be built, the need would never justify the cost. The man credited with overcoming both the elements and the critics was its chief engineer, Joseph Strauss. Strauss was a man who not only had grand visions, but also the ingenuity and expertise to turn his dreams into reality. The construction of this monumental bridge began in 1933 and was completed 4 years later at a cost of $35 million and the lives of 11 workmen. The courageous men who worked on the bridge brought home a whopping $11 a day, actually good money for the Depression years. Some took part in the building of the Bay Bridge and the Golden Gate, including this brave ironworker, Alfred Zampa.
A lot of times we're up high on the tower. Once in a while we have to go up in the tower and do this or that. We were up in the sunshine and we couldn't even see the deck from there, so high. But it was nice sometimes, but most of the time it was miserable. But it was honest and the money was there and we were crazy to do it, so we loved it. You have to relax. If you can't relax, you're all in, don't do nothing. You gotta forget about it. You gotta forget about falling. If you fall, you fall. You don't, yeah, I go. We're a tough breed, different breed of cats. There'd be 150 men in the bottom of that tower waiting to go to work there, waiting for us to fall off or quit. A lot of them did quit. And not very many fell off, though. Although the Bay Bridge, we lost 25.
When completed, the construction had consumed over 80,000 miles of steel cable, 100,000 tons of steel, and 25 million man-hours of labor. The two towers rise almost 750 feet above the water level and carry the weight of the 4,200-foot span. The bridge was open to traffic on May 28, 1937, as dignitaries cut a gold chain with a torch, and the military conducted maneuvers above and below. Today, the Golden Gate Bridge connects San Francisco with the upscale county of Marin and the picturesque community of Sausalito. Victorian mansions and contemporary marvels adorn Sausalito's steep hills, and the downtown area is filled with gift shops, art galleries, quaint pubs, and romantic restaurants. Although many Marin residents commute to San Francisco via the Golden Gate Bridge, others opt for a relaxing, waterborne form of transportation. Ferries navigate the bay waters to and from the city several times daily, providing a refreshing alternative mode of commuting. For getting around once ashore, the real San Francisco treat is the cable car. In the early 1870s, Andrew Halliday, a manufacturer of steel cables used in the gold mines, introduced the first cable-driven carts to the dangerously steep hills of the city. History buffs can visit the Cable Car Museum on Mason Street, which provides an interesting array of memorabilia and an opportunity to inspect the highly technical workings of the system. Although the cable car system has remained basically the same since its inception, tourists and residents alike still experience a tingle of excitement when boarding one of these handcrafted wooden cars. Passengers may ride the cable cars from downtown to one of the liveliest areas in San Francisco, Fisherman's Wharf. Italian fishermen established the wharf area in the days of the gold rush and were later joined by the Chinese and their young ones. The area soon became a favorite for tourists and locals alike who could try their luck or purchase fresh cooked seafood from sidewalk vendors. Those lucky enough to own an automobile could experience a new sensation in dining, the drive-in. Today, vendors still hawk their delicacies of the sea, and the most popular catch remains Pacific Dungeness crab. The abundant sea lions get into the act dockside and occasionally show their prowess in fishing the local waters. San Francisco's world-famous sourdough bread is available fresh and hot out of the oven, providing the perfect complement to the tasty cracked crab. Pier 39, which opened in 1978, has become a delight for visitors of all ages. Approximately 70% of the wood used in the construction was recycled from old piers and waterfront sheds. Children are instantly enchanted with the double-decked carousel. And 3 outdoor stages provide free entertainment for all.
Incredibly well. You can put your foot down. Can't see, just grab those. Okay, honey. She's doing so remarkably well. We're going to go for the more advanced maneuvers now. Oh, just relax. Nothing to worry about. Dina falls. We're going to use some of these other lucky children. Okay, Dina, can you put your toes right on the edge of that board there for me? That's fine. Both boards. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Dina starting off with the double back flip. Okay, Dina, go.
A walk to the end of the pier presents a fantastic water-level view of the bay and a look at the infamous island of Alcatraz, also known as the Rock. For a closer look, tour boats offer cruises around Alcatraz and passage ashore for guided tours conducted by the National Park Service. This barren outcropping was originally called Pelican Island, named for the seabirds that were once its main inhabitants. The island was later renamed and became famous for a different type of bird, the jailbird. First used as a military prison, it was converted to a federal prison in 1934 and became home to such infamous criminals as Al Capone, Machine Gun Kelly, and the Birdman of Alcatraz, Robert Stroud. With tours available several times a day, Alcatraz is a great place to visit, but you wouldn't want to live here. Although not as famous as the Golden Gate Bridge, the San Francisco-Oakland Bay Bridge rivals its counterpart as an achievement in engineering. This 8-mile-long double-deck bridge is actually made up of a series of 3 bridges and a connecting tunnel. Opened in 1936, the Bay Bridge has served as the main artery linking the city with the East Bay. A glittering necklace of lights was added in 1986 and complements the breathtaking waterfront skyline. By day or by night, This is one of the most recognizable skylines in the world. Land is limited, so the newer construction tends to go up rather than out. These modern monolithic high-rises are the headquarters of financial empires affecting trade worldwide. The competition to be on top is reflected in this ever-changing skyline. Although these empires may not be able to withstand a shaky economy, their skyscrapers are built to stand on shaky ground. Who can forget the 1906 earthquake that devastated San Francisco? Although San Francisco had experienced earth tremors in the past, the citizens were ill prepared for an earthquake of such magnitude as the big one. The tremor awakened the sleeping city just after 5 a.m. on April 18, 1906. The quake itself lasted a mere 48 seconds, but the fires that followed lasted 4 days. Chinatown was completely destroyed, and the opulent splendor of Nob Hill was reduced to mere rubble. When the damage toll was finally taken, over 28,000 structures had been leveled. Soldiers on horseback from the Presidio forcibly evacuated endangered areas, many times denying residents a chance to save their treasured belongings. Dynamite was used to level homes and storefronts, creating an endless pile of rubble along Van Ness Avenue, which acted as an effective firebreak. Through these efforts, many irreplaceable specimens of Victorian architecture were saved. These famed painted ladies, located on Alamo Square, survived and have been dubbed by photographers Postcard Row. Another landmark building to survive the Great Quake is the Ferry Building, which is located at the foot of Market Street. Ferries were used extensively during the evacuation of the earthquake victims. Thousands upon thousands of homeless refugees fled from the burning city to the safety of the East Bay shores. Built in 1898, the Ferry Building's 240-foot clock tower once stood as the tallest structure in the city. Before the opening of the Bay Bridge, this charming building was also the second busiest ferry terminal in the world. Of the once numerous commuter ferries which transported thousands across the bay, this vessel, the Eureka, was the last to be retired and is now located at Aquatic Park. In 1951, Aquatic Park became the home of the National Maritime Museum, and now proudly displays model ships, photographs, and memorabilia from San Francisco's seafaring past. The Maritime Museum's floating exhibits are a must for history buffs and mariners alike. The Hyde Street Pier, which provides the mooring for 5 of these proud ladies, is itself a former passenger ferry slip. The Balclutha, built in Scotland in 1886, is a 256-foot square-rigged clipper ship, which made numerous excursions around Cape Horn in the late 1800s. The Balclutha is open daily for tours, as are the C.A. Thayer, the Alma, and the Wapama. Aquatic Park, the National Maritime Museum, and its adjacent flotilla are now protected as part of the Golden Gate National Recreation Area. This area encompasses 35,000 acres, including 69 square miles of waterfront property. These scenic parklands stretch from the beautiful, rugged oceanside cliffs of Marin County to the western beaches of San Francisco's coastline. This area also serves as the starting point for a scenic, paved 3.5 mile walk along the Golden Gate Promenade, which takes the energetic along the bay shore to the foot of the Golden Gate Bridge. The promenade passes below the Presidio, originally a Spanish outpost. The Presidio was later used for training Union regiments during the Civil War. Just under the Golden Gate Bridge at the end of the promenade is Fort Point. The Golden Gate Bridge had to be redesigned in order to preserve this historic bastion. Completed in 1861, Fort Point once housed 149 cannons, none of which were ever fired in anger. Tours of the fort are given by guides dressed in authentic Civil War uniforms. Moving on along the coastline past the Golden Gate Bridge is Baker Beach, a popular spot for beachcombing, as well as a great vantage point for photographers. Near Baker Beach is an often overlooked area of natural wonder, known appropriately as Land's End. A true wilderness area, this splendid preserve offers excellent hiking and breathtaking views of the Pacific Ocean and the Golden Gate. To the south lies Ocean Beach, a 4-mile wind-blown stretch of sand facing the ravaging powers of the Pacific Ocean. A Dutch windmill on the eastern roadside stands as a lonely sentry overlooking the western border of Golden Gate Park, a proverbial Garden of Eden set in the middle of this western metropolis. Seeing the park in its present state, it is hard to imagine that this area was once a series of sand dunes. Most of the credit for the creation of Golden Gate Park is given to a tenacious Scotsman, John McLaren. As park superintendent, McLaren battled both the elements and the local politicians to nurture his municipal garden and transform it from a virtually barren land to a haven of flora and fauna. During his 56 years as superintendent, McLaren was responsible for the planting of well over 1 million trees. And Golden Gate Park is now a convenient urban oasis where visitors can escape the fast pace of the city. Golden Gate Park also has plenty of cerebral delights. The Academy of Sciences includes the Hall of Natural History, the Steinhardt Aquarium, and the Morrison Planetarium. Children take science into their own hands at the California Tide Pool and are more than entertained by the dolphins at feeding time. The fish roundabout is a 100,000-gallon ring of fast-swimming specimens from the open ocean. A living coral reef presents colorful species in their natural environment. Wild California features amazing life science displays called dioramas, which utilize the expertise of biologists and Hollywood special effects teams to ensure authenticity. Educational videos share details of the laws of nature represented here. The De Young Museum contains a splendid collection of artwork that spans from Egyptian times to the present. Masterpieces by many great artists are on permanent display. The central court is fashioned as a medieval Spanish monastery, complete with Moorish archways. The Asian Art Museum is located in the same building and displays over 10,000 Oriental art treasures. Horticultural excellence from a different hemisphere can be found in the tranquil Japanese tea garden, built in 1894. Bonsai trees, reflecting pools, and wooden bridges create a feeling of serenity in this tranquil park within a park. In one corner of the garden is a bronze statue of Buddha, which was cast in 1790. And of course, there is a thatched roof tea house for sipping tea in the open air and reading a fortune cookie. A more in-depth experience of Japanese culture may be found in San Francisco's Japan Center. While San Francisco is often thought of as the gateway to the West, this city is also the gateway to the East, the Far East. The five-tiered Peace Pagoda was a gift from Japan and has become the symbol of this 5-acre complex. The most widely known Asian section of San Francisco is Chinatown. Chinatown is a thriving city within a city. This sector of the city is filled with hundreds of shops and restaurants catering to Oriental tastes. And the shops offer an entertaining variety of merchandise. Here one may purchase a small curio or invest in intricate hand-carved figurines, or in furniture crafted in a centuries-old tradition. The Chinese New Year's Parade, which is held each February, is an exciting and sometimes loud celebration that attracts hundreds of thousands of onlookers each year. Throughout the year, Chinatown offers the world of the East in the midst of this modern Western city. One of the most aesthetic examples of the architecture of San Francisco is the Palace of Fine Arts. Seeing this marvel bathed in warm, early morning light is like stepping into a Maxfield Parrish painting. The Palace of Fine Arts was originally built as a temporary structure for the Panama Pacific Exposition of 1915. The building became so well loved that it was reconstructed in the mid-60s. Even the streets of San Francisco offer a degree of fascination. This is Lombard Street, which bears the dubious distinction of being the crookedest street in the world. The street was originally designed to provide access for horse-drawn carts traveling up and down the steep San Francisco hills. Crowning Telegraph Hill, Coit Tower stands out on the San Francisco skyline as a unique and somewhat curious monument. Lillian Coit was rescued from a burning house as a small child by heroic firefighters and had a somewhat peculiar fascination with the fire department for the rest of her life. Upon her death, Lillian Coit left $100,000 to build this commemorative edifice. Some see Coit Tower as a giant Romanesque column. Others see it as an oversized replica of a fire nozzle. Everyone, however, agrees that the view to be seen from the top of the tower is truly a sight to behold. Telegraph Hill towers over the Italian community of San Francisco. This is North Beach. Countless Italian restaurants can be found along the narrow streets, and some have been serving the public for over 100 years. Nearby, bocce ball is still a popular leisure pastime.
Tira quella lì. Scappaci. Se devi andare per toccare questa un po'. Silenzio.
Of all the subcultures of San Francisco, the most talked about is the gay culture. This is the Castro District, the hub of the gay community. Neighboring the Castro District is the Mission District, considered the Hispanic sector of the city. The district was named after Mission Dolores, which was established in 1776 by the Spanish founders of San Francisco. The Mission itself is the oldest intact building in the city, a simple adobe church. It has survived 3 major earthquakes. The Mission District is also the place to come for authentic Central and South American cuisine. Some of the main attractions of this area are the brightly painted murals decorating the public walls and restaurants. San Francisco's sidewalks also provide the stage for street performers from all walks of life.
Santa Lucia, or dolce Napoli, or suor beato, ave serire, por il creato, tu sei l'impero dell'armonia, Santa Lucia, Santa
San Francisco is home to nearly 5,000 restaurants, so the only problem with dining in the city is choosing one. Dining out isn't just limited to land-based establishments. Brunch and dinner cruises, complemented by the fresh sea air, a glass of wine, and that special person, provide all the ingredients needed for an evening of romance. The nightlife in the city has something for everyone. The spectacular Davies Symphony Hall is home to the San Francisco Symphony and also hosts renowned artists from around the world. Nightclubs offer live music and dancing from the sophisticated cabaret lounges of Nob Hill to the inn spots south of Market. By day, the city's special events include the zany Beta Breakers Race, a charitable annual fundraiser with over 100,000 participants. This golden city by the bay radiates a sense of warmth, charm, and diversity that is rarely found in urban communities. No wonder that those who visit this Golden Gateway often leave their hearts in San Francisco. In the words of Rudyard Kipling, San Francisco has only one drawback: 'tis hard to leave.